Are Vampire Coast mortars any good? This is a somewhat short video, but that's because it's a direct comparison to the Empire version. As shown on screen now, the Empire version is actually a little more expensive. HP is the same, leadership is a full 20 higher, melee weapon strength is higher, and nobody cares. But reload time is 1 second shorter, 19 instead of 20, calibration distance is somewhat better, and calibration area is also somewhat better, but still pretty wild, just less wild at longer ranges than the Vampire Coast version. And what does the Vampire Coast version have? Extra powder. And it's cheaper. Well, no, it's not just cheaper. The Empire Mortar is recruited from a gunsmith, a Tier 3 building. The Vampire Coast mortars are recruited from either the Munitions Hut, a Tier 2 settlement building, or Bombards, a Tier 2 ship building. Thus, you get Vampire Coast mortars earlier, easier, and a little cheaper, which makes it a lot easier to grab them through global recruitment should you desire it. The point being, there are a lot of early to mid-game problems that are simply much easier to handle if you have 3 or 4 mortars batteries blasting away, to say nothing of using them with magical help or gunnery white assistance. You can use them to fire at the ground in the usual manner. Mortars are obviously convenient for damaging units on or behind walls in sieges, and not so convenient for destroying walls and towers and gates, but they'll help at least. 3 or 4 batteries helping a single carronade battery and a lot of major settlements become artillery turkey shits, at least for a while. Of course, on the highest difficulties you run into a lot of shot dodging, but you'll still get quite a few chances to land strong blows on hard battle difficulty, let alone beneath that, so the ordinary player will still get a ton of use out of them. Extra powder means that shots at 80% ammo or above get 30% extra damage, and that includes the explosive damage, so it's great for mortars. You'll deliver a ton of pain with these. In the Lord Redline skills, Black Powder Overload provides a maximum of plus 18% ammunition and plus 8% missile strength, and I thought it was 20%, but maybe that's another faction. Not off by that much. Ensorcelled Weapons grants rank 7 crews plus 12 armor plus 12% missile strength and 15% spell resistance. Nothing bad about that. The tech tree has a few, not at all subtle techs applying to mortars. Maintained Cannons adds another plus 10% missile strength. Clean Your Bores reduces upkeep by 15%. Magazine adds plus 20% ammunition. Trained Gun Hands adds plus 2 to recruit rank. Now, beyond this, of course, we have the Gunnery Whites, but a lot of the potential boosts come from Lord Traits, or in the case of your shipbuilding lords, from the Harpoon gun line. Not only does this building chain add to your melee defense in a defensive battle, but it grants percentage bonuses to missile damage for your field artillery, plus eventually adding another use for your army abilities associated with the Munitions Hut or Bombards, letting you do a little extra damage for free, something to keep in mind. This sums up the differences versus the Empire mortars. This is a foundational unit, and especially early on you'll want a bunch. Even much later in the game, they are still your number one option for softening up a lot of missile infantry or clumped up melee infantry. Just keep in mind that they rely on splash damage, so the fewer entities, less splash. A high morale unit with 30 entities firing versus the original 90 is a lot harder to finish off with a mortar. Well, that's what the other parts of your roster are for. Consistency is not the forte of the mortar, but it carries a punch and it makes a boom, and that's more than enough reason to like it. Also, it's cheap, so vulnerabilities aside, it's plagued by fewer limitations than your basic missile units. Take care, and have fun watching Spearman health bars disappear. It's one hell of a good trick.